The moment I pushed open the orthodontist's clinic door, the place my disabled daughter had waited 9 long months to finally get her BEUGEL PLAATSEN braces appointment, I stopped dead in my tracks. Because HOA Karen was already inside. She was leaning over the reception counter, her voice sharp, ugly, dripping with fake authority. Cancel her appointment. Yes, her. The kid with the walker. She doesn't deserve priority. Kids like that slow everyone down. My daughter Emma tightened her grip on her walker, her eyes wide and scared. My heart didn't just drop, it detonated. Karen turned around, expecting her usual victory. But the second she saw me, that smirk disappeared. Completely. Little did she know. She had just tried to cancel the appointment of a girl whose parent, me, was the one person she should never ever challenge, because she had absolutely no idea who I am. Before we jump in, let me ask you something real quick. Which city are you watching this video from? Drop your city name in the comments. I love seeing where everyone is tuning in from across the USA. And hey, if you're new here, make sure you subscribe before we begin, because these stories, they're real, they're emotional, and they always bring justice in the most unexpected ways. All right, let's begin. This story happened during one of the most stressful weeks of my life, but also one of the most revealing, because it exposed the truth about people who pretend to be powerful, and it reminded me exactly who I am. My daughter Emma is 12. She walks with a walker, but she has the brightest laugh in the world. She was born with a rare jaw condition that affects her breathing, chewing, speaking, everything. Her BEUGEL PLAATSEN appointment wasn't cosmetic. It wasn't optional. It was medically necessary. We waited 9 months. 9 months of sleepless nights. 9 months of pain she never complained about. 9 months of cheering her on, telling her, "Baby girl, the day is coming. You'll finally get your braces." And then out of nowhere, HOA, Karen decided my child didn't deserve it. She tried to cancel the appointment because Emma walks too slow, because she takes up space, because she makes noises when she breathes. But she didn't know who she was messing with. I wasn't just another HOA homeowner. I was someone who could end her entire position with a single documented call. And this is the story of how everything unfolded. I should have known the day was going to be chaotic the moment Emma woke up before her alarm, already dressed, already smiling, already whispering, "Mom, today's the day. I finally get my braces." There was something about that smile, the pure, innocent excitement of a child who had suffered quietly for far too long, that made me swear to myself nothing would ruin this day. Or so I thought. We left home earlier than necessary. I packed her medical file, her snacks, her soft blanket, her inhaler, everything she might need. I checked the car twice, adjusted her walker, buckled her in carefully. But the moment we pulled into the clinic parking lot, the HOA war drums began. Because there she was, Karen. Not just any Karen, our HOA Karen. The woman who believed every child needed her permission to breathe. The woman who thought disabled kids were inconvenient. The woman who once complained because Emma's walker left marks on the sidewalk. She stood near the clinic door, arms crossed, lips pinched, staring at us. Not blinking, not smiling, just watching us like we were criminals entering her territory. Emma noticed. Her small hand tightened around the seatbelt. "Mom, is she mad at us again?" I forced a smile. "Sweetheart, she's always mad. It's her hobby." Emma giggled, a quiet, shaky giggle, and for a moment I thought maybe the day could still be saved. But then Karen marched toward us. Sharp steps, eyes narrowed. "What are you doing here?" she demanded. I blinked. "It's a medical appointment." She scoffed like I'd told her we came for a Broadway audition. "Well, it's extremely inconsiderate of you to come on a day when parking is full. You know your daughter takes forever to get out of the car." I stared at her, stunned. "Are you serious?" "I'm perfectly serious. People like you should schedule appointments at non-busy hours." I wanted to ask what people like you meant, but I already knew. Parents with disabled kids. Parents whose children didn't fit her perfect plastic HOA Barbie world. I kept my voice calm. "Karen, this appointment took 9 months. We're not moving it. Not for you, not for anyone. Her nostrils flared. We'll see about that. She spun around and marched into the clinic. I thought she was just being her usual toxic self, but I didn't know she was about to do something far worse. Something unforgivable. I helped Emma out of the car, adjusted her walker, fixed her hair, and kissed her forehead. You ready, baby? Ready, she said, smiling again. But the second we walked into the clinic, I felt the atmosphere change. The receptionist, usually warm and friendly, looked tense, uncomfortable. Her eyes flicked between us and the hallway where Karen disappeared moments earlier. Hi, I said. We're here for Emma's orthodontic appointment. The receptionist hesitated. My stomach dropped. Then she said something that made my blood freeze. Ma'am, according to the system, it says your appointment was canceled. Emma's breath hitched. Her walker shook. Her shoulders collapsed. What? I whispered. I'm so sorry, the receptionist said. Someone called a few minutes ago and insisted you wanted to cancel. They said the patient's parent was unable to attend due to a disability-related issue. I swear my vision went white. Disability-related issue? I leaned over the counter, calmly, too calmly, and asked, Who called? The receptionist swallowed. A woman. Blonde. Around 50. Very firm. Emma whispered, terrified, Mom, does that mean I don't get braces today? My heart cracked, because this wasn't for getting paperwork. This wasn't a system error. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This was sabotage. Cold, cruel, deliberate sabotage. Karen had tried to cancel my disabled daughter's medical appointment. And now she was somewhere inside this building pretending nothing happened. I felt the fire rise in me, not anger, not rage, justice. I bent down, cupped Emma's cheeks, and softened my voice. Sweetheart, listen to me. Your appointment is not canceled. I promise you. I don't care what has to happen. You are getting your braces today. Emma nodded, wiping tears with the sleeve of her sweater. I straightened, turned toward the hallway, and saw her. Karen, standing there with her arms crossed, smirking like she'd just won a battle she planned behind enemy lines. Oh, she said sweetly, did they tell you? Such a shame. Appointments fill up so fast. Maybe next year. Her voice dripped poison. Every word intentional. Every smile mocking my child's pain. Why would you do that? I asked quietly. She shrugged. Kids like you slow everyone else down. I did the clinic a favor. The clinic? The patients? The world? Something snapped inside me. Not anger, clarity. You can't just cancel a child's medical appointment, I said. This is discrimination. She rolled her eyes. Don't be dramatic. You people always play the victim. You people. Disabled families. Parents who fight battles she doesn't even see. Karen, I said, stepping closer, you messed with the wrong family. She laughed. Actually laughed. Oh, please. What are you going to do? File a complaint? Cry to the HOA board? I am the HOA board. I smiled slowly. She didn't expect that, because she didn't know the truth. The truth about who I am. The truth about the position I hold. The truth about the power I have. Power she could never match. Karen, I whispered, leaning close enough that only she could hear. You're right. You are the HOA board. She smirked again. But I said, am the person who signs off on every HOA violation investigation in this district. Her smirk shattered. What? She whispered. I stepped back, looked her straight in the eyes, and said, You tried to cancel my daughter's medical appointment. And now, I'm going to cancel your entire rulebook. Her face turned red, then pale, then terrified. For the first time ever, Karen wasn't in control. I was, and this was only the beginning. For a moment, Karen just stood there, frozen, blinking fast, like her brain was rebooting. The woman who usually talked nonstop suddenly had nothing to say. I didn't wait for her response. I turned toward the receptionist and said, voice steady, Please reinstate Emma's appointment. Immediately, and log the cancellation attempt as fraud. The receptionist swallowed. She clearly didn't want trouble, but she also knew she had just been manipulated. Her fingers hovered over the keyboard. Karen snapped back to life. No, no, no. You can't do that, she barked. I told you earlier I was making the call on her behalf because she was too overwhelmed to do it herself. The receptionist flinched. Emma's face twisted in confusion. My jaw tightened. I stepped forward. Karen, you don't speak for my family. Ever. She puffed up like an overfed pigeon. Actually, as HOA head, I do have the right to... Stop right there. I said, calm, controlled, dangerous. You have no right to interfere in medical appointments. HOA power ends at the sidewalk. You crossed a line today. Karen laughed, that sharp, ugly laugh that showed too much gum. Oh, please. I didn't cross a line. I simply corrected a scheduling issue. I stared at her. You corrected nothing. You tried to punish a disabled child for existing. Her smile faltered. The receptionist finally spoke up, timid but brave. Ma'am, I need to ask, why did you tell me the parent asked you to cancel? Karen lifted her chin higher. Because she did. She emailed me this morning. Really? I asked. Show the email. Her throat moved. She tried to swallow, but the lies stuck halfway. Well, I deleted it after responding. Show the response then. She froze again, and that's when Emma, sweet, gentle Emma, did something she rarely does. She spoke up loud enough for Karen to hear. Why do you hate me so much? Karen's eyes widened, and for a second, I thought guilt might crack through her mask. But no, Karen did what Karen does best, deflected. I don't hate you, she snapped defensively. You just cause disruptions, and you slow things down. And other families shouldn't suffer just because what? I interrupted. Just because she needs a walker? Just because she's disabled? Say it. Go on. Karen's lips shook. Her eyes darted around at the receptionist, at the waiting parents, at the kids who were now staring. She wasn't used to being confronted in public. Look, she hissed quietly, I'm not the villain here. I'm trying to maintain order. You tried to sabotage a medical appointment, I snapped back. That's not order. That's cruelty. The hallway got quiet. You could feel the tension crawling up the walls. Karen tried to play the sympathy card. Fine, you want to make me the bad guy? Go ahead. But I didn't want your daughter to go through the pain of braces if she wasn't ready. I laughed, actually laughed. It echoed down the sterile white hallway. You think this is about her pain? I said, she's been in pain for years, and today was finally supposed to help her. I turned to Emma, who was now wiping tears with the corner of her sleeve. Honey, listen to me. You're ready. You've always been ready. Emma nodded, trying to be brave, even though she was trembling. Then, something unexpected happened. A father waiting nearby stood up. Then another mother. Then a teenage girl with braces of her own. One by one, they stepped closer, forming a quiet circle around us. The father spoke. My daughter had this procedure last year. Waiting 9 months is brutal. What she did, he pointed at Karen, is unacceptable. The mother added, the clinic should have verified with a real parent, not a random neighbor. The teenage girl whispered to Emma, it doesn't hurt that much. And you're super strong. Emma's eyes softened. She smiled, a tiny, grateful smile that told me the kindness of strangers still existed. Karen, on the other hand, was losing it. This is ridiculous, she yelled. All of you are overreacting. I was trying to help. No, I said quietly. You were trying to control. She stormed closer, pointing a trembling finger at me. You think you can threaten me? You think your little title scares me? I have friends on the board. You won't after today, I said, because I'm filing a full report. Discrimination, harassment, interference with medical care, abuse of HOA authority. Her face went white. The receptionist cleared her throat. Ma'am, I need you to leave this area. You're disturbing other patients. Disturbing? Karen shrieked. I'm disturbing? Me? Yes, I said, you. The waiting parents nodded. One whispered, just go, under their breath. Karen inhaled sharply, like she was about to scream the roof off, then exhaled in a hiss. This isn't over, she growled. I stepped closer, lowering my voice so only she heard. "You're right. It's not." Her eyes darted, confused, because the moment we finished this appointment, I said softly, "I'm requesting an emergency HOA hearing, and trust me, you won't survive it." For the first time since I'd known her, Karen looked truly scared. She backed away, slowly, then turned and stormed out of the clinic. As the door slammed behind her, the waiting room exhaled collectively. The receptionist typed rapidly, "Mrs. Miller, I've reinstated your appointment. Emma is next. I'm so sorry for what happened." I crouched down to Emma. "See," I whispered, "you didn't lose your braces day. Not today. Not ever." Emma hugged me tight, a hug that said she'd been holding her fear in for too long. Then she whispered, "Mom, I'm glad she's gone. She keeps hurting you too." My throat tightened. "She'll never hurt you again, I promised. Not after today." As Emma's name was called, and we guided her toward the orthodontic room, something settled inside me. This wasn't just about braces. This wasn't just about an appointment. This was about every parent who ever had to fight for their disabled child. Every family that ever felt small under the shadow of a controlling bully. Every kid who was told they were inconvenient. Today the fight wasn't over. But the war? The war was about to begin. The orthodontic assistant, a gentle woman named Melissa, led us into the procedure room. It smelled like mint and metal, the classic orthodontist scent. Emma held her walker tightly, nerves shaking through her little hands. "Hey, there, sweetheart," Melissa said softly. "We're going to take good care of you today." Emma nodded, but I could see the anxiety on her face. The chaos from the waiting area still clung to her like a shadow. I helped her sit in the reclining chair. Her legs trembled. Her breathing grew shallow. "Mom, what if it hurts?" she whispered. I brushed hair off her forehead. "Baby, you've survived pain your whole life. This is just a step toward making things easier." She took a deep breath, gripping the chair handles. But as Melissa prepared the tools, Emma's gaze drifted toward the door, toward where Karen had been. "Is she coming back?" she whispered, voice tight. "No," I said firmly. "She's gone. She can't touch you." Emma nodded, but the fear didn't leave. The orthodontist entered, Dr. Alvarez, a kind man whose presence always calmed Emma. He adjusted his glasses and smiled warmly. "Ready for this big day, Emma?" She managed a small, brave smile. "Yeah." He explained every step slowly, making sure she understood. It helped, but the tension still lingered like a storm cloud inside her chest. When he began placing the metal brackets on her teeth, Emma squeezed my hand so tightly her knuckles turned white. Her eyes glistened, tears threatening to fall. "You're doing amazing," I whispered. "One bracket, then another, then another." Halfway through, her breathing hitched. She grabbed my sleeve. "Mom, it's too much." "We can take a break," Dr. Alvarez said immediately. "No rush." He lifted his tools away, giving her space. Emma took 3 deep breaths, shoulders trembling. After a moment, she nodded again. "Okay, I can keep going." "That's my girl," I whispered. He resumed the process with extra care. But even as she bravely endured it, I could feel Karen's shadow hanging over us. This appointment was supposed to be joyful, exciting. Instead, Karen had poisoned it with her cruelty. And that realization lit a fire inside me I couldn't extinguish. This woman had crossed boundaries too many times. Complaining about Emma's walker scratches. Reporting us for excessive parking time because Emma needed extra minutes. Leaving passive-aggressive notes on our door. Calling Emma distracting to neighborhood kids. I had let so many things go because I didn't want conflict. But today, Karen targeted my daughter's medical care. There was no forgiveness left. When the braces were finally secured, Dr. Alvarez handed Emma a mirror. Even with her lips pulled back awkwardly, she smiled, a real smile this time, bright and hopeful. "I look like everyone else now," she whispered. My heart squeezed. She didn't mean it the way it sounded. She meant she felt included, normal, strong, like the other kids in her class who already had braces. You look perfect, I said. As we wrapped up, Dr. Alvarez placed a gentle hand on my shoulder. All done, he said with a reassuring smile. And for the record, what happened today was unacceptable. If you need a written statement for your HOA complaint, we'll support you. I exhaled sharply. Finally, someone understood. Thank you, I said. I'm absolutely filing it. We'll back you up, he promised. As we stepped back into the hallway, something strange happened. The waiting parents, the same ones who had spoken up earlier, were still there. And when they saw Emma with her new braces, they started applauding. Not loud, not dramatic, just soft, kind, supportive claps of solidarity. For a second, Emma froze. Then her eyes shimmered. She smiled shyly, waving a tiny wave. Thank you, she whispered. A mother stepped forward. You're brave, sweetheart. Don't let anyone make you feel less. A teenage boy with neon bands on his braces added, Braces squad, you got this. Emma laughed, a real laugh this time. And it healed something inside me. I didn't even know it was broken. But the moment was cut short when Melissa rushed toward me, breathless. You need to see this. My stomach tightened. See what? She pointed toward the glass doors at the entrance. Karen was back, and she wasn't alone. 2 HOA board members stood with her. One man and one woman, both in stiff business attire like they'd come straight from a board meeting. The entire waiting room fell silent. Seriously? I muttered. She brought backup? Emma's small hand slipped into mine. Mom, what does she want now? I squeezed her hand, gently. Nothing she's going to get. We stepped closer to the entrance. Karen saw me and immediately launched into her performance. Oh, look, everyone, here she is, she announced loudly, waving her hands like she was unveiling a circus act. The woman accusing me of harassment. The male board member looked annoyed. The female board member looked confused. The man spoke first. Karen said there was an altercation. I crossed my arms. Did she tell you she tried to fraudulently cancel my daughter's medical appointment? Both board members blinked. What? The woman asked. Cancel a medical appointment? Why would she? Karen jumped between us. That is not what happened. I simply informed the clinic that the child might not be able to make it because she what? I snapped. Because she's disabled? Because she walks slowly? Say it. Come on. The woman frowned. Karen, you can't cancel someone else's medical appointments. Karen scoffed. I wasn't canceling. I was clarifying. She confuses the schedule all the time. I never confuse appointments, I said evenly. And you know it. The man looked at Karen sternly. We didn't come here to defend you if you abused authority. Karen's mouth fell open. Abused? Me? Yes, I said calmly. You abused your HOA position to interfere with my daughter's health care. I have witnesses, the clinic staff, and a reinstatement record that proves the cancellation came from you. The board members exchanged worried glances. Karen, the woman said slowly, if this is true, there will be consequences. Karen exploded. This is ridiculous. You're all taking her side? Over me? I run this neighborhood. I keep things in order. You harassed a disabled child. I interrupted. This isn't order. This is cruelty. The entire waiting room was watching. Kids, parents, staff. Karen's face twisted, ugly, and red. You'll regret this, she snarled. I stepped closer, lowering my voice to a cold whisper. No, Karen. You're the one who crossed the final line. She stared at me, trembling with a mix of rage and fear, because she realized something. This time, she couldn't lie her way out. This time, she couldn't bully her way through. This time, she wasn't the most powerful person in the room. And for the first time ever, Karen knew she was losing control. As the board members escorted her outside, half arguing, half disciplining, Emma tugged my sleeve. Mom, what happens now? I bent down, cupping her cheeks gently. Now, we go home. You rest. And I file the biggest HOA grievance this neighborhood has ever seen. Her smile returned. "And after that?" she asked. "After that," I said, standing tall, "we make sure Karen never hurts another family again." Emma nodded. "Good," she whispered. "I don't want anyone else to feel like I did." My heart swelled with pride. Powerful, overwhelming pride. This wasn't just about braces anymore. This was about justice, dignity, respect, protection. And I was far from finished. By the time we reached home, Emma was exhausted. The braces made her cheeks sore, and everything that had happened drained the last bit of energy she had left. I helped her settle onto the couch, made her some warm soup, and tucked a blanket around her legs. She looked up at me with those big, worried eyes. "Mom, is Karen going to yell at you again?" I brushed my thumb across her cheek. "Sweetheart, she won't yell at anyone for a long time. Not after today." But inside, I wasn't as calm as I pretended to be. I was furious. I was shaking. I was done. Karen didn't just cross a line, she bulldozed an entire field of boundaries today. I kissed Emma's forehead. "Try to rest. I'll be right here." She nodded, curling into the blanket. As soon as she closed her eyes, I went straight to my laptop. It was time. Time to write the report that would rip Karen's HOA throne right out from under her. But just as I opened the HOA portal to submit my complaint, my phone buzzed. HOA, Board Group Meeting, Emergency Session. Tonight, 7 p.m., Community Hall. My eyebrows rose. They hadn't even waited. They were already calling a hearing. Karen must have tried to defend herself, or lie again, or manipulate the board into taking her side before I could file the complaint. Not this time. I wouldn't let Karen spin the narrative first. I printed every relevant document: the appointment confirmation, the cancellation timestamp, the reinstatement record, statements from the clinic, screenshots of Karen's previous HOA threats, images of her passive-aggressive notes, and an entire log of every incident she caused with Emma. The folder was thick, heavy, devastating. I grabbed my keys, but before I left, Emma stirred. "Mom." I knelt beside her. "Yeah, baby? Do you have to go?" I brushed her new braces with my thumb gently. "I do, but I'll be back soon. And when I come back, this will all be over." She nodded slowly, trusting me the way only children can trust the people who protect them. "I believe you," she whispered. Those 3 words hit my heart like a lightning bolt. I kissed her forehead again and left. The community hall parking lot was already half full. People were gathering outside, neighbors talking, whispering, watching. The drama had already spread through the neighborhood faster than wildfire. As I walked in, conversations hushed. Some nodded at me with sympathy, some with respect, some with curiosity. But everyone knew something big was about to happen. Inside, the board members sat at their long table. The woman from earlier, Lisa, offered a small supportive smile. The man, Howard, looked tired, like Karen had already given him a migraine. And there she was, Karen, sitting in the center chair, chin high, arms crossed, acting like she owned the oxygen in the room. She didn't look remorseful. She didn't look nervous. She looked angry. Angry at being called out. Angry at losing control. Angry that her superiority wasn't being honored. But the second she saw the thick folder under my arm, her eyes twitched. She swallowed hard. She wasn't as confident as she pretended. Howard cleared his throat. "This emergency meeting is called to address a serious complaint involving HOA Chairwoman Karen Langley and a resident, Mrs. Miller." Karen shot up from her chair. "For the record, the complaint is false," she snapped. "It's exaggerated, dramatic, and completely out of context." I let out a soft, disbelieving laugh. Howard motioned for me to speak. "Mrs. Miller, you may begin." I stepped forward, placed my folder on the table, and opened it slowly. Page 1. The documented cancellation call from the clinic. I slid it forward. Lisa's eyes widened. "Karen, this timestamp is from 15 minutes before her appointment." Karen's jaw clenched. "Coincidence." Page 2. The clinic's internal record noting that a blonde woman claiming to represent the parent attempted the cancellation. I slid it forward. Howard sighed. "Karen, That could have been any blonde woman. Karen shrieked. Someone in the audience whispered loudly, "There's only one blonde woman who interferes in everything." Laughter rippled through the hall. Karen's neck flushed red. Page 3. A written witness note from the receptionist verifying Karen's physical presence and her attempt to justify the cancellation. Karen's voice went shrill. She misunderstood me. I was helping. Page 4. A printed timeline of 9 months of Emma's medical delays and why this appointment mattered. Lisa rubbed her forehead. "Karen, why would you insert yourself here?" Karen slammed her hands on the table. "Because," she stopped herself. Her eyes darted around. She realized she was about to expose her real motives. Howard asked carefully, "Because what?" Karen's lips quivered. "Because that girl." My voice cut through the room like a razor. "Do not call my daughter that girl." The room stilled. Karen blinked, startled. I stepped closer, calm but lethal. "She has a name. It's Emma. And you tried to humiliate her today. You tried to deny her medical care. You tried to punish her for being disabled." Gasps echoed through the hall. Karen panicked. "I did not," she screamed. I was. Lisa's eyes sharpened. "Karen, were you discriminating against a disabled child?" Karen stumbled backward. "No, I didn't. I just wanted." She slows everything down. "She makes noise. She shouldn't." She clamped her mouth shut. Too late. She had said enough. Silence filled the room. Then Lisa spoke, voice cold and clear. "I moved to suspend Karen from her HOA duties pending further investigation." Howard nodded. Seconded. Karen's eyes went wild. "No, you can't do that. I run this community. Everything falls apart without me. I've given my life to this neighborhood." Lisa raised an eyebrow. "Karen, you tried to sabotage a medical appointment for a 12-year-old disabled child. This is beyond HOA misconduct. This is moral failure." Karen's mouth opened and closed like a malfunctioning puppet. You can't do this to me." I leaned in, voice low, steady, and powerful. "You did it to yourself." For the first time that night, Karen had no comeback. She sank into her chair, deflated, humiliated, exposed. And it wasn't over yet. Howard cleared his throat. "Mrs. Miller, you'll be contacted to provide additional testimony. For now, we thank you for bringing this serious issue forward." I nodded. The weight inside me finally eased. But the moment I turned to walk out, Karen shot up again, pointing a shaking finger at me. "This isn't over," she hissed. "You think you won? You think you can replace me? I will ruin everything for you. Everything." I didn't even turn back. I just said, "You already ruined yourself," and walked straight out of the hall. Not because I didn't want to face her, but because Emma was waiting at home, and she was the only person who mattered. The sky was dark by the time I pulled into our driveway. The streetlights hummed, casting long shadows across the neighborhood, shadows that made everything feel heavier, colder, somehow more dangerous than usual. I stepped inside, quietly, not wanting to wake Emma. But she was still on the couch, blinking sleepily at the TV. She sat up when she saw me. "Mom, are you okay?" I knelt in front of her. "I'm fine, sweetheart." And guess what? Karen suspended. Her eyes widened. Suspended like she can't boss people around anymore? "Exactly," I said, brushing a loose hair from her forehead. "She can't hurt you. She can't threaten us. She can't interfere with anything ever again." Emma smiled, a soft, relieved smile, the kind you see when a child finally feels safe again. But deep inside, I knew better. Karen wasn't the type to accept defeat. She wasn't the type to reflect. She wasn't the type to admit she was wrong. She was the type to retaliate. Emma fell asleep early, worn out from the emotional roller coaster and the soreness of her new braces. I carried her to bed, tucked her in, and kissed her forehead. "You're safe," I whispered. Then I closed her door gently, and the moment I did, a noise outside made me stiffen. A sharp metallic sound. Clink, 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 like something hitting our front porch, or being thrown at it. My stomach tightened. I walked to the window and peeked through the blinds. A dark SUV was parked across the street, engine running, no headlights on, just sitting there, watching. And then the silhouette inside moved. A woman, short, stiff blonde hair, arms crossed, Karen. Of course. She couldn't even wait a full night before starting her war. I opened the door and stepped onto the porch, and immediately saw it. 3 eggs smashed across the walkway, a 4th dripping down the railing, a 5th still rolling to a stop. I clenched my jaw. She was escalating. I took a step forward. The SUV door slammed open. Karen climbed out like she wasn't even trying to hide. "Oh, look who's awake," she shouted dramatically, spreading her arms like she was performing on a Broadway stage. The woman who ruined my career. I let out a breath between my teeth. "Karen, go home." "No," she barked. "I'm not going anywhere." The neighborhood lights flickered as a breeze blew through. A few curtains shifted in nearby houses. Neighbors were watching but staying inside. No one wanted to get involved with Karen in her unhinged mode. She marched toward me, heels clicking angrily on the asphalt. "You humiliated me in front of the entire HOA board," she yelled. "Do you have any idea how that feels?" "Yes," I said. "It's what you've been doing to everyone for years." Her jaw twitched. I was maintaining order, protecting the community, keeping people like you. "Finish that sentence," I warned. She froze, her lips pressed tightly shut. "Coward." Then she spotted the eggshells on the porch and smiled. "Oh, no," she said sarcastically, placing a hand on her cheek. "Whatever vandal threw those must be a terrible person." I stared at her. "You really think you're untouchable, don't you?" She stepped closer, lowering her voice. "You think you can take my position? My authority? My power? You're nothing in this neighborhood without me." "You're suspended," I said calmly. "And after the investigation, you'll be removed permanently." Her face twitched like a faulty animation. "You think you can do that to me?" "Karen," I said softly, "you did this to yourself." Her breath hitched, and then in a low, venomous whisper, she said the words that changed everything. "You think you won today? You have no idea what's coming for you. I'm going to file complaints. I'm going to talk to parents. I'm going to tell everyone your daughter is a disturbance. I'll make sure she's never welcomed anywhere in this community again." My blood froze. "You will not talk about my daughter," I growled. Karen smirked. "Oh, I'm going to talk about her to everyone. And when they see what a burden she is." That was it. That was the moment I stopped caring about being polite, restrained, or patient. I stepped closer, inches from her face. "Listen to me carefully," I said quietly, my voice steady as steel. "You ever speak about my daughter again, you ever threaten her reputation, you ever try to sabotage her life, and I will take every one of your actions, every note, every complaint, every witness, every record, and I will bury your entire HOA career so deep that no neighborhood in the state will ever hire you again." Her eyes widened. She wasn't expecting the fire. She wasn't expecting strength. She wasn't expecting me. "You're a bully," I said, "and bullies don't scare me." We stood there, locked in a silent battle under the streetlights. Then her expression twisted into pure hatred. "You're going to regret this," she spat. "You have no idea what I can do." "I know exactly what you can do," I said, "and none of it scares me." She screamed, an ugly, frustrated scream, stomped back to her SUV, and peeled out of the neighborhood like a teenager having a tantrum. I exhaled slowly, but just when I thought the night's nightmare was over, I found something. A piece of paper wedged under my doormat. I picked it up. It was a printed letter, an eviction notice, filed under the HOA's emergency authority. Only one problem. Karen wasn't allowed to issue anything while suspended, which meant she had broken yet another rule. And this time, she had crossed into full-blown illegal territory. I slowly folded the paper. This wasn't just HOA misconduct anymore. This was fraud, forgery, harassment, retaliation. And now she had signed her own downfall. When I walked back inside, Emma was awake, rubbing her eyes. "Mom, is everything okay?" I knelt beside her. "Everything is going to be okay," I said softly. I promise. She looked at the paper in my hand. What's that? A mistake, I said. One Karen is going to regret. Emma nodded sleepily, trusting me completely. And as I tucked her into bed again, I whispered to myself, this ends tomorrow. Because Karen didn't know it yet, but she had just declared war. And she had picked the wrong mother. I barely slept that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Emma's terrified face at the clinic, the smashed eggs, Karen's screaming threats in the street, the fraudulently signed eviction notice. This wasn't just a neighborhood dispute anymore. This was targeted harassment. This was discrimination. This was a line no one should ever cross. And in the morning, I was ready. I showered, dressed, tied my hair back, and gathered every piece of evidence. I wasn't going to the HOA office empty-handed. Not today. Today, I was armed with truth, with proof, and with a mother's fury sharpened into strategy. Emma watched me from the kitchen table, her braces still making her talk carefully. Mom, are you going to fight her today? I knelt beside her, took her small hands in mine, and said the words she needed to hear. I'm not fighting her. I'm fighting for you. Her eyes shined. But will she stop hurting us? I kissed her forehead. Yes, baby. Today, everything changes. When we pulled into the HOA headquarters, several board members were already outside, along with neighbors who had heard rumors of what Karen did. Lisa waved for us to come inside, quickly. We need your statement before Karen arrives, she whispered urgently. She's been emailing all night, trying to twist the story. Not surprising. I handed Lisa the folder, thick, heavy, undeniable. She skimmed the pages, her eyebrows rising higher and higher. Oh my God, she muttered. She forged signatures? She filed an illegal eviction notice? She left hate notes? She tried to sabotage a medical appointment for a child. A disabled child, I corrected gently. Lisa exhaled sharply. This is beyond suspension. This is grounds for full removal and legal action. I nodded. That's what I'm here for. While Lisa and Howard reviewed the evidence, more neighbors arrived. Parents, teenagers, even a few elderly residents who had lived in the community for decades. They came not to gossip, but because Karen had hurt them too. She had fined them unfairly, threatened them, bullied their kids, called tow trucks unnecessarily, used HOA power like a personal weapon. And today they were done. It was like watching a community wake up. One by one, they gathered behind me, not just physically but symbolically. This wasn't my battle anymore. It was everyone's. At exactly 10 a.m., Karen barged in, and she looked furious. Her hair was unbrushed, her makeup smeared, her eyes bloodshot. She looked less like a powerful HOA president and more like someone whose world was crashing down. You can't have a meeting without me, she screamed, slamming her purse on the table. I am the HOA. Howard stood calmly. Karen, please sit. We need to discuss something serious. No, she barked. Not until SHE, she stabbed a finger toward me, is removed from this room. I didn't move. I didn't blink. I just stared back. Lisa spoke firmly. She stays. You need to hear this. Karen scoffed. Oh, please. She's manipulating everyone. I didn't do anything wrong. Howard slid the forged eviction notice across the table. Karen stopped mid-sentence. Her face drained of color. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. Lisa placed the clinic's report in front of her next. Then the timestamps. Then the receptionist's statement. Then the photos of the eggs. Then the screenshots of her threatening HOA notes. Then the log of her discriminatory behavior against Emma. Karen's hands trembled. Her breathing quickened. Her eyes darted wildly from page to page. This is fake, she shrieked. She made this all up. A voice spoke from behind us. No, she didn't. We turned. The father, who had supported Emma at the clinic, stepped forward. I saw everything, he said. I watched you try to cancel that appointment. I heard you call that little girl a burden. Then another parent stepped up, and another, and another, and another. One by one, witnesses spoke about the cancellation. About the screaming. About the notes. About the eggs. About months of intimidation. Karen looked around, surrounded, trapped, exposed. She tried to talk, but the more she spoke, the more her lies crumbled. No, you're misunderstanding. They're exaggerating. This is a conspiracy. You're all jealous of me. This is MY neighborhood. I built this community. You can't do this to me. Her voice cracked into a desperate shriek. Her face twisted into something almost unrecognizable. Howard stood up. Karen Langley, you are hereby removed from the HOA board effective immediately. Lisa added, and the board will be forwarding this case to local authorities for investigation into harassment, forgery, and discriminatory misconduct. Karen's jaw dropped. You're calling the police on me? Lisa didn't blink. Yes. Murmurs swept through the room. Karen took one step back. Then another. Then another. Her voice trembled. You can't do this. I'm important. I'm in charge. I make the rules. I finally spoke. You don't make the rules, Karen. You break them. She spun toward me. You ruined my life. I shook my head. No, you ruined your own life. I just stopped you before you ruined my daughter's. Her mouth opened. Emotion flooded her eyes. Anger, grief, fear, all swirling into a single implosion. Then she grabbed her purse, shoved past the crowd, and stormed out of the building, slamming the door so hard the frame shook. Her reign was over. For the first time in years, the neighborhood breathed. After the meeting, neighbors surrounded Emma. You're so brave. You didn't deserve any of that. You're safe now, sweetheart. We're proud of you. Emma hugged me tightly, her little arms squeezing as if she were afraid to let go. Mom, it's over? I lifted her chin gently. Yes, baby. It's really over. And in that moment, for the first time since this nightmare began, I felt peace. Real peace. If you're still watching this, if you felt even a single moment of anger or heartbreak, if you've ever had to stand up for someone you love, tell me in the comments what city you're watching from. I love seeing where my family of viewers is tuning in from. And if you believe that bullies should never win, especially when it comes to children, hit the like button, subscribe, turn on notifications so you never miss another story where justice wins. Thank you for listening. Thank you for caring. And remember, when it comes to protecting your children, we are all stronger than the Karens of the world.